to order. It's the meeting of the Common Council Ad Hoc Committee regarding the Pocono Lane exchange of land being held in the caucus room on the third floor at City Hall beginning at 7:15 on Thursday, October 16th. President are myself, Chairman, Councilman Jack Knapp, Councilwoman Mary Teicholz, Councilman Tom Sadi. That is the committee. Also, ex officio member, Councilman Warren Levy. We also have President of Corporation Council Les Pinter, Director of Public Works Antonio Idarola, Director of Planning Dennis Elpern, City Engineer Fareed Corey, as well as Gary Michael, the landowner that we're talking about this evening. I have members, you should have received, as we did at our last meeting, the report from, make sure I say it's from the right person, from Eric Gottschalk regarding this property. I also have to read it to record. I also have a copy of the report from the Planning Commission. They made a motion of positive recommendation on October 15th, subject to the approval of the city traffic engineer and traffic authority, as well as the submission of plans and documents satisfactory to the Corporation Council. So that was the Planning Commission report. And I have a letter here to read in that is to the City of Danbury Planning Commission from Sharon B. Calitro, the Deputy Planning from October 2008 Common Council meeting. Is 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes, and it's on number 7 Pocono Road, exchange of land. Common Council received a request to consider the exchange of city land in lieu of payment to Pebble Mortgage LLC for the previously approved easements necessary to construct the one-way road from Pocono Road to Mountain View Terrace. The land, approximately 1,663 square feet or 0.0038 acres in size, is within the right-of-way of Pocono Lane at its intersection with Newtown Road. The exchange of land would eliminate the requirement for the city to pay Pebble Mortgage LLC the appraised value of acquiring the easements. Pocono Lane is a city road, while Newtown Road is controlled by the state of Connecticut Department of Transportation. The construction of the one-way road between Pocono Lane and Mountain View Terrace is a long-desired traffic improvement for area residents. The portion of Pocono Lane identified as Parcel B on the land transfer map dated June 6, 2008, prepared by Ben Dodo, PE, appears to be excess of the right-of-way at the corner Pocono Lane and Newtown Road. The city traffic engineer and traffic authority should review the proposed land transfer and comment as to whether the land in question may be required for future roadway improvements at the intersection. Subject to the approval of the city engineer and traffic authority, the department has no objection to the issuance of a positive referral. All documents and plans associated with the land transfer should be reviewed and approved by the Office of Corporation Counsel prior to acceptance and recording. Here is the report from the Planning Commission, and next week we'll have additional items to choose from. So that is basically the report that we got from the Deputy Planning Director. With that being said, move on to our meeting. I'd like to call on Corporation Council just to basically review the as far as what our exact plans are with the change of the land there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to make it brief but comprehensive for everybody. This has been on the table for about a year and a half or so. In the middle of 2007, thereabout, the Director of Public Works sent a letter to the council, indicating that because of the difficulties with safety and traffic from Pocono Lane out to Newtown Road, another way had to be found to get access to that Newtown Road cutoff. And his recommendation at that time was to get a way to turn that gray colored strip that you have on your map, the rectangular strip that's divided with a line in the middle, get access to rights to cross that by vehicles, and part of it would be an easement area as well for snow removal, snow storage, utilities. And by doing that, by opening up a one-way corridor from Pocono Lane over to Mountain View Terrace, that traffic that was going to go from Pocono Lane to Newtown Road Cutoff would instead go to where traffic light is at the intersection of Mountain View Terrace and Newtown Road Cutoff. That was his recommendation to you. The Common Council then adopted a resolution that authorized our office to negotiate with the owners of the property that's, you see on the map, that exists between that rectangular gray area, we'll call it, and Newtown Road Cutoff, which is owned by Pebble Mortgage LLC. Gary Michael Jr., actually I think his father is a principal in that firm, in that corporation. And so our office spent a period of months talking to them, discussing and negotiating a way to get a solution to what Antonio Iadarola had suggested to the council. So what you have there in front of you is the solution. And the solution is to open up a one-way corridor, which is about 15 feet wide, give or take, at the top end of the map. And there's an additional 15-foot easement corridor adjacent to that first corridor I was telling you about, which is the easement area for the snow storage and for utility and maintenance. That, taken together, would be the parcel of property that the city would acquire from Pebble Mortgage LLC. And that would allow the access, again, out from Pocono Lane over to Mountain View Terrace. Now, one of the issues that came up was, well, how do we value that piece of property? You know, we don't want to just take something for free and say thank you very much, although, you know, you can certainly accept a donation, I guess. What we tried to do, and I have to give credit to Rick Gottschalk, who really thought of this idea, that is that, why don't we see if there's a swap that can be worked out? Where would that swap property be? Well, if you look over to the right of the map, there's a triangular piece, again gray, on Pocono Lane that that Pebble has agreed to acquire from the city, if the city is willing to give it to them in exchange, and that would allow the consummation of the deal without any transaction dollars. Now, that works because both parties get something. What do we get? City obviously gets this access for its citizens to traverse that area safely. Pebble Mortgage also gets the benefit of that traverse area, so whatever ultimately is at that site, traffic will be beneficial for that purpose. They also get this piece of property that they can use for, which is directly adjacent to their owned property, which they can use at some point in the future. So the recommendation, the proposal is to do two things: to have the council authorize the receipt of this roadway and the easement area, and at the same time authorize the transfer to Pebble of the what we'll call the parcel B, the triangular piece off Pocono Lane, and secure the interests of both parties that way. Planning, as the chairman read, planning department and commission have both reviewed this, and there's two conditions. They're in favor of it generally. The conditions are that they want the traffic authority and the traffic engineer to review the triangular piece to make sure that there's not an issue with that. And we've really reviewed most of the legal documents, so we can pretty much tell you right here that we're satisfied that the documents at this point are in order, and we'd be able to recommend that legally these transfers can occur. There's one other quick thing I wanted to mention to you, that at your November meeting, if the committee recommends this to the council, the item before this one on the agenda will be a resolution giving us authority to renew the acquisition authority. Some of you might know that according to state law, when our office or the city is given authority to condemn a piece of property or to negotiate for it, by state law, you're given 6 months to consummate that. We haven't gotten one in over 6 months, so we will need you to quickly simply adopt a resolution that night, authorizing our office, and in the next breath, the next minute, you can deal with this. Okay. It's just a piece of side information. You'll see that later on. That's not important really for tonight. So that's the summary. I hope it was short enough. In essence, that's what the proposal
We don't have to act on that.
You don't have to do
Not
anything
the
with that
resolution
tonight.
piece.
I just want to bring it to your attention. It can be in the minutes, fine, but you don't have to do anything with that right now.
And the city, the traffic engineer's been asked, if we started that yet? Is that the process
Yeah,
now?
we're here to speak on his behalf.
Okay, all right. Okay. If you could
You want to
let us
speak on
know,
his
speak on
behalf?
his behalf. if you would.
We've been working on this solution for quite some time, and it's good to see that we finally got some, I think, a very good resolution here to the swapping of properties. Our traffic engineer does not have any issues with this swapping of property, so I do want to put that on a record. The other thing that we have spoken to the property owner, and I think he's in agreement to it, is actually retaining an easement over this triangular piece that you see on your map for future road improvements. That could be maybe potential sidewalk installation, it could be a drainage pipe installation, it could be a stop sign. So we have proposed some language that would retain an easement for those purposes over this triangular piece. And it could be for road widening one day if we so deem it necessary. So, that's something that I think would be put onto this map and would be filed as part of this final map. If you guys agree to bless this swapping of property. So, other than that, this is something we started working on probably the end of October 2007 is when the idea first generated, and we went through some negotiations, exactly how to design the road, the impact. There was a gentleman that lived in this property that had life use of the property, which complicated the issue of us building a road on that property. So all of that has been resolved, and we're really ready to kind of move forward. And that's really all we have to have. I don't know, Fareed, if you have anything else you want to add.
No, as you mentioned, we have a wide road on Pocono right now. It's a good 30 feet plus. So when we reviewed it with the traffic engineer, we don't see any major impact of movement of traffic on Pocono.
And just with respect to the easement that you were just talking about, has Pebble, the Michaels, been in negotiations with you on that? So.
Well, we spoke this
we spoke
morning.
about it.
We spoke this morning about it, yes, yeah. And I believe you don't have an issue.
Well,
The language has to be drafted.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
just, was brought up today, we did talk about it. Our initial thought is that we didn't see any obstacle, okay? But I think we would have to discuss it with the other members of Pebble Mortgage. But our initial thought was, we didn't see a problem. For the record, we've been working on this solution for a while, and we're pleased that it's come to this point. If I could just ask a question in terms of a normal or acceptable width of a road. What is that acceptable width of a road similar to Pocono, and what is the width that you have now?
Well, Pocono Road is an extra wide road.
Okay.
But again, the width of a road, especially near an intersection, geometry plays a big part in how wide you make a road. So it's kind of a loaded question what you're asking. For residential use, 24-foot wide road is
Right.
usually pretty decent. But when you get into intersections
Width,
and
like-
geometry, things may change, yeah.
It depends also on the classification of the road, if it's
Right.
primary or industrial,
Secondary
secondary
road.
road.
Okay, I mean, and just, there wouldn't be, and we can talk about this, later, but about a road widening, I mean, there's no issue, because you have this piece here, it kind of goes right into, the frontage of Newtown Road, so it's, I think it could be somewhat limited for the easement,
Yeah,
But,
If I could just get you gentlemen, you could just address yourself through the chair so that our tape understands exactly who.
I think,
No problem.
I think we could come up with some language
we
that would be beneficial, it would secure our interest, and it would be beneficial for
Yeah.
you. And if you can just give us the opportunity, not tonight to do it, but down the road to come up with some mutually agreeable easement language over that triangle, I think we can we can accomplish it. We've had very good negotiations on this, and this last item, I think, will also be resolved.
Yeah, for the record, Gary Michael, we've come this far. We're not going to let the language over an easement be an obstacle. That being said, I haven't discussed it fully with my father and other members of Pebble Mortgage, but I do not believe it's an obstacle.
Thank you.
I have lots
Mr.
of questions. I guess through the chair, probably to Mr. Iadarola. Have any other or all other areas been exhausted for alleviating this problem? Because I did spend a lot of time up there, and, you know, was it just looked into about going up in up Mountain View and hooking up in the back on Sunrise?
There's been a very lengthy process of alternative investigations here. We got denied from the state. There is a restriction on tying these roads together as part of the original subdivision approvals for that complex. So yeah, this is basically the last opportunity, and we thought it was a creative way to resolve the issue. And quite honestly, when we first approached the property owner, we really didn't think he was even going to be open to it. So it took a lot of work trying to get to where we are today. And you know, there was a couple of newspaper articles about the state denying our opportunity to do any enhancement or any changes on Newtown Road.
Through the chair, again, I'm not sure who to direct this one to, but with the easement, the cut-through between the two roads, from what I saw when I was there, it's cutting through between two homes.
Right.
There's a home to the left and a home to the right. Why wasn't the easement on the other side of the home, so it's not impeding on residential? Or is it too close to the intersection? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, I think she's saying why wasn't it done?
There's a brick house and there's a gray house, and from what I could tell, it looks like the easement is coming between the two.
Yeah, we that was a point of negotiation. This is an easy construction, it's very easy construction for us, but that was a point of negotiation. Taking this parcel and putting that road right through the middle of it would render that one piece of property literally unusable. So that was a request and a negotiation that we had with the property owner, that you ride one of the property lines, the upper property line, so you don't completely dissect that parcel into two pieces. If you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no.
Why don't I show you on the big map?
Yeah, that might help. Thank you.
If you were to put this road here, you're literally taking this piece and dissecting it from the entire parcel that this property would eventually, or could be.
So this is all owned by, but the brick house is also owned by?
That's correct.
Okay, wasn't aware of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It would really render this parcel not unusable, but it would really impact the use of that parcel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of comments and a few questions. This project has been at least a decade or more in coming to fruition. When I was first elected, this was one of the biggest issues up in that neighborhood, and it's only gotten worse over the years, or more heightened as an issue because of the traffic increases. So I really want to, commend the mayor's office, Corporation Council, the Michael family, your corporate partners, Public Works engineer, everybody who helped to put this together, because it is a creative solution to a problem that the State Department of Transportation refused on at least 3 separate occasions to address, except to say they don't feel that there's anything that can be done to alleviate the problems at that intersection. So this is, and in fact, the State Traffic Commission refused to even hold a hearing in Danbury on the issue, and to hold it up in the Hartford area was the least that they would agree to do. So all that being said, this is a win-win, I think, for everybody involved. I was just up in that neighborhood this past weekend, and the people are chomping at the bit waiting for this to happen. They understand the legal hurdles and the engineering issues. From the property standpoint, if I understand, if I may through the chair to Mr. Iderola, the Corporation Counsel, there is no issue or objection now with regard to that existing dwelling where the person once had the life estate. So we're really only dealing with one home that would abut this property, and that home is in a reasonable distance from the easement through the chair.
That is correct, yeah. I mean, you know, reasonable is something that needs to be defined, but it is, the road ends up being a couple feet off the property line for this home. So, you know, we do plan on talking to the property owner and telling that person what we're doing. I'm sure he's aware of it because our surveyors have been out there and, you know, so there has to be some consideration, in my opinion, to doing, even maybe creating some soft barrier between the road and that property. Although we don't have a lot of room to do that.
I understand. But if I remember, one of the big concerns initially was the fact that the easement actually crossed over an existing dwelling. When that's not a concern anymore, that's the property that is owned by the
That's
individuals we're
correct.
swapping the property with. So it's them letting us do this to their property.
That's correct,
We're
yeah.
not impacting a third party here. You know, the report through the chair that Mr. Corey gave with regard to the traffic engineer, I assume that includes a positive recommendation from the traffic authority, being the police department, the police chief, that
We
was
will-
a single report, or at least,
Yeah, we will write our recommendation to the chief of police. We're waiting to see this meeting first.
okay. And just to make clear for the record, if I, through the chair to Mr. Iderola, that the engineering plans are either complete or substantially complete, so that once this is legally and legislatively consummated, that we should be able to move in fairly short order.
Yeah, there's a little more engineering work that has to happen, but other than that, this is a very simple, basically construction of a driveway, glorified driveway to some degree. So, it all depends how quick you guys move and how quick the plants close, asphalt plants. that
No,
is.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Question of council. The plans that we're talking about, the traffic plans, do we need that prior to the November meeting, if in fact this does get that far?
Ideally, you'd want it by then, but I think the planning report simply indicates a condition. Doesn't really say by when. So you can, if you approve it, you can approve it. And we, obviously, we won't finish or consummate anything until we have those reports in hand. But no, you don't have to have it by the November meeting.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mr. Alpern, does putting the road in that area change the zoning on that?
No.
Impact the neighborhood in any way?
No.
Thank you.
Councilman Sapp.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to the council as a whole to, one, authorize acquisition of the land between Pocono Lane and Mountain View Terrace, and two, authorize a transfer of the municipal property known as a triangular property by Pocono Lane, subject to mutually agreeable easement negotiated between the parties and the requisite reports.
You got that? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? And, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one more thing. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.